So many people want to see Dwight Howard return to the Lakers, right? Dwight Howard, good size. We know that he's fit in. He won a championship with the Lakers and could really be a key contributor, right? But the Lakers chose not to sign him. Dwight Howard said he would have re-signed with the Lakers, but he wanted a multi-year deal. The Lakers really just wanted to give players, 1-year deals essentially to kind of preserve the cap space going into next season. Dwight Howard ultimately doesn't become a Laker. He doesn't get picked up by any team and then goes to Taiwan to go and play with the team over there. Now, he does have an opt-out in his contract, so if any NBA team wants Dwight Howard at any time, he can leave the team and then go play in the NBA, which, he wants to do, which also a lot of pro NBA level athletes that go overseas, they usually have that opt out. Like if the NBA wants you, you get to go. But Dwight Howard had a huge, monstrous performance last night in his debut with Taiwan, and many people are calling for the Lakers to go and take a look at Dwight, bring Dwight in, right? We could use a big Anthony Davis doesn't want to start at center. Dwight Howard could be your starting center. You'd have, Dwight Howard. You'd have, Thomas Bryant. You'd have Anthony Davis. You'd have Wynn Gabriel. And then you'd have Damian Jones kind of for insurance, right? That's what many people want. Go and get Dwight Howard. And here's what his monstrous stats look like, right? He had 38 points, 25 rebounds, 9 assists. Absolute monster, right? I mean, the crowd was all into it. He shot 10 3-pointers, and all of the crowds were just raging every time he did it. I mean, he really was out there. He was having a monstrous game, at least so it appeared. Now, Dwight Howard, look, he is up there in age. It makes sense why a lot of people, he wasn't very efficient last year. He had moments in spots, last year with the Lakers, but it wasn't anything noteworthy, right? And there's a reason why he hasn't been picked up by an NBA team. And look, he's dominating overseas in Taiwan, and that, of course, looks good, but you got to take into account the level of talent over there, the size over there, the type of play that they play over there. Also, the three-point line is a lot closer, so he's basically shooting mid-range shots rather than three-point shots, which is a big difference. And still, this is what he actually had. He had 38 points, but he was 14 of 32 shooting, 2 of 10 from 3. He was 8 of 12 from the free throw line, 25 rebounds, 9 assists, and 4 blocks. So, I mean, on paper, if you just saw that stat line I showed, he looked like he had just this incredible monster game. It's like, come on, you telling me he can't give us half of that in the NBA, stuff like that. But look how many, he took 32 shots to get to 38 points. He shot 33%, 36%, something like that from the field. He shot 20% from 3. Big difference. Again, you got to look at the full scope of the performance that he had. If an NBA, if he did this in the NBA, people would be saying waive him. People would be like, dude, he scored 38 points, but he took 32 shots. He almost took as many shots as he scored points, right? That would be a conversation that people would be having. If Giannis or Embiid did something like this, people would be clowning him rather than praising the 38 points. And again, you're playing lesser competition, lesser size, different rules, different league, closer everything, right? It's not as far, and the court's not as spread out as it is in the NBA. So there's a lot of factors that go in. He can stand in the paint longer, things like that. All of those attribute to him being able to be a more dominant performance. And I mean, he's still got size. He's still, he's still relatively athletic. He's not the athletic monster that he once was, but again, his stats were misleading. People are just looking at the 38, 25, 9, and 4 and going, dude, come on, you got to give him a chance. He'd be perfect on and again, there's a reason. There's a reason why teams didn't pick him up. He's not the skill set he once was. He's not the athleticism he once was. He's more willing to do the dirty work, sure, but he's not a guy that you can rely on for 20 plus minutes a game, right? His step on the defensive end is not what it once was. We saw that even last year. He was getting beat a lot more than he ever did. The bubble year, he was solid. The bubble year, he was a real contributor. He was still able to stay in front of guys. He was still able to, even out on the perimeter. He was, on switches. He was able to stay in front of guys. He was able to move his feet. He had a lot of production that bubble year. But we saw once he ends up leaving, his stint in Philly, didn't go so well, and then he comes back with the Lakers and didn't go so well. His stint in Philly was, I think, better than the most recent stint with the Lakers, but still, he's not the answer, right? Like if the Lakers are going to get a big, they need like a stretch big, or they need the youth. Like Thomas Bryant was great last night. Like that's the guy we need, right? I mean, if they were to make a trade for like Jakob Poeltl or like, a Miles Turner, okay, that makes sense, right? You're getting a low post big and Jakob Poeltl who can, get you the defense, the rebounding, the low post scoring. He's a real contributor in that regard. He can do a little bit of everything. He's also a really good passer for a center of his size. And then, say Miles Turner, he's great shot blocking, spread the floor. He could do a lot of things that are in the positive light. Like if the Lakers were to trade for a big, that's what they would look for. I think you're better off getting Hassan Whiteside than Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard's definitely a bigger body. He can kind of bully ball, but Hassan Whiteside, he's younger. He's still got the athleticism. He's still a great rebounder. He's still a great shot blocker. He's just less of a locker room guy is the problem. That's the big issue. Hassan Whiteside, he's gotten a little piece of humble pie here, and maybe he'll come in and contribute better, which would be the hope. But, I mean, regardless, Dwight Howard's not the answer. Dwight Howard isn't what this team needs. He's not going to solve the problems. You're not going to be able to play him the amount of minutes that you need to play him. Again, you're better off keeping Thomas Bryant, especially if he can continue to perform the way he performed last night. That's perfect. That's all we need from a center, whether he's backing up Anthony Davis or starting next to Anthony Davis. I loved seeing the two big lineups last night, right? Like you saw Anthony Davis and Wenyen Gabriel. You saw Anthony Davis and Thomas Bryant. And the beauty of Thomas Bryant is he has the ability to play the 4 or the 5. So you're able to do that lineup with, Anthony Davis and Thomas Bryant, right? And then we even saw, Wenyen Gabriel and Thomas Bryant for stretches. Like, I like that. I think Thomas Bryant is that perfect sort of third big, and each one of them give you something different. You got Wenyen Gabriel. He's in there. He's the hustle guy. He's giving you, 8 and 8 every single night. He's just consistent night in, night out. Him and Russ have a great 2-man game going on. They're running that pick and roll just beautifully, seamlessly. You got Anthony Davis, who's like your superstar that just does everything, dominant, monstrous. And then you got Thomas Bryant that can do a little bit of everything. He can stretch the floor. He can rebound. He's great on the pick and roll. He's got that athleticism, so he's always a lob threat. Like all of those things. Like you get so many different elements from all three of those guys that I think really helps. Could we use a bully ball center? Sure. But I just don't think that that's the biggest need for the Lakers right now, right? I've even talked about Miles Turner. I don't think Miles Turner is the biggest need for the Lakers right now. Would he help? Would he make us better? Sure. But I don't think center position, especially if Thomas Bryant is playing the way he played last night, if he can consistently play that. And that was his first game back from injury. And he was injured all year last year. So I imagine it's going to take him a little time to get his legs under him, and he was great last night. Now, if he could get to we don't need him to be, a 38, 25, and 9 guy. We need him to just be, a solid, give me 12 to 15 points with 7 to 8 rebounds a game. That's perfect. We don't need anything else. You got LeBron James, Anthony Davis, you got Walker, right? You could maybe take Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn and go get another piece or two, right? Austin Reeves has really stepped up and elevated and is just killing it in the scoring department. I really like what we're seeing from him. You're seeing a lot of guys really starting to step up and play really well. The ball is really moving, right? That's really helping. We had 29 assists last night on 43 made shots, something like that. And that is a huge contributor to success. That's how we're going to win the game. Playing fast, which Dwight, he's not the runner he once was. He's not. We need speed. We need to go. We're having success with Russell Westbrook just running and gunning. We need centers that can get up and down the court to that degree. Wenyen Gabriel is great. Wenyen Gabriel is always one of the first players up the court because he's just young and fast and athletic still, and just, he's just boom. He's just high energy constantly. So he's up the court. Thomas Bryant, we saw he's running on the break. He's sprinting down the court. He's getting easy setups. All those things, we need guys like that. Dwight Howard isn't going to be able to provide a lot of that, at least on a regular basis, night in and night out. And I just don't think Dwight Howard is the problem solver. Same thing with DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins is another player, that I see people throw out constantly. Like Cousins, I love Cousins. Like it's so sad what happened to him. All the injuries and stuff. Like that dude was incredible. That guy was an absolute beast, right? But unfortunately, he's not that guy anymore. Yeah, he could spread the floor a little bit, but he's not a guy that you can play night in and night out consistently. He's injury prone. He doesn't have the lift in him anymore. I mean, he was never like some crazy athletic guy, but now he's like he can't even jump over a quarter, it looks like at times. And look, he was great for Denver last year, and they still didn't bring him back. So there has to be a reason for that, right? And I just think it's because they can't rely on him on a nightly basis. And the Lakers aren't good enough to have guys that they can't rely on night in and night out. Like look at, Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn, right? Like Kendrick Nunn was great last night, right? He didn't miss a shot. He was like 4-4 from the field. He had a solid game, but for the most part this season, he hasn't been very good. We're not good enough to rely on, a guy that just forgot how to play basketball. Patrick Beverley was getting killed by Bojan Bogdanov, just getting crossed up, like on several occasions, right? Like his defense didn't look very good last night. It hasn't looked very good the last couple games. He has moments, right? He has solid moments here and there, or he'll make a play here and there. But for the most part, his defense has really kind of regressed over the last couple games. And then he can't score. He was the only player, I believe, or he had 4 points. Dennis Schroeder had 2 points, but he only took 3 shots. And then Patrick Beverley had 4 points, and he took like 5 shots, something like that. But again, like Patrick Beverley, he's providing no offensive output. His defense is, good, but it's not that good to where it's like, man, like we would be terrible defensively without him. No, we're actually better on both sides of the ball when Patrick Beverley isn't in the game. We just are. We're better defensively. We're better offensively when he's not in the game because we're usually going with like a more sizable guy. We're usually going with like a bigger lineup of like Austin Reeves, Troy Brown, and Walker, who are all giving you like they're collectively giving you like 35 to 40 points a game, right? So you're getting more input. You're getting more size. You're getting better score. Like I would rather them take Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, go get like a legit wing, go get like a Josh Richardson or something like that. Now you got like 3 or 4 guys that are all like, got some size, they're not like 6'9", 6'8", small forwards, but they're all like 6'6", 6'7". They all got good wingspans. They all got good length. They can all shoot the ball. They can all put the ball into the hoop. They can all create for themselves. All of those things would really help. I'd rather do that than go look at like another center. I just don't think that center position is what this team needs. Dwight Howard, yeah, on the surface, his numbers look great. But in reality, it took him almost as many shots as it took him as he did points to put up those points and put up those stats. Like it was a gimmick game. He's putting on a show out there. People want to see Dwight Howard. They fed him the ball. Like he had the full green light playing that game because he's a star over there. People want to see it. It's exciting. Like he was the showcase, right? Like that's what that was. That's why he had such a monster game and he was able to take 38 shots. Like Dwight Howard will be lucky to take like 5 or 6 shots if he played on an NBA team. It's a big difference. Big difference. This isn't Orlando Dwight we're talking about here. Like, so I don't know. I just I don't think he's the answer. I think he's going to have a lot of fun in Taiwan. I think he's going to be great in Taiwan. I think he's going to really kill it over there. He's going to make a ton of money. He's going to be a star over there. That's great. I think that's where he needs to be right now. And I like Dwight. I really do. And I would like to be honest, I'd rather have him than Damian Jones. But problem is we can't waive Damian Jones, right? So there's no point. We're kind of stuck with Damian Jones. And I do understand why they signed Damian Jones over Dwight. He was younger. He also was great last season for Sacramento. So he just, I don't know, forgot how to play basketball when he came to the Lakers. Just like Patrick Beverley, just like Kendrick Nunn. It happens. On the surface, it looked like a good signing. And you got him on the cheap end. It looked like a good signing. He's young, athletic, do a little bit of everything. He shot 33%, 34% from 3, something like that. It was like, okay, cool. Like you got a center that could do everything, right? So I understood why they didn't want Dwight, but I don't think Dwight's the answer. But again, love to hear thoughts and opinions. As always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know yours down in the comment section below.